Did you know that according to Statista.com, over 50 million Americans go fishing every year? Now, every fisherman has their why. Some cast to put food on the table, while others sit on the water to provide peace of mind for themselves. Now, as someone who has grown up fishing their entire life, I can confidently say that throughout the years, I've enjoyed the meals that it's provided, the peace that I have felt, and the overall adrenaline rush of bringing in a catch every now and again. Now, I believe that fishing is for everybody, and the life lessons and benefits that are learned and earned on the water should continue on for years to come. Whether you've grown up fishing your entire life or you've never stepped foot on a boat before, it all comes down to the basics, and that is exactly what we'll be discussing today. Now, first, we will cover the different types of water there are and the fish that live within them. Secondly, we'll go over the correct rods to use depending on what type of fish you are going after. And then third and finally, we'll discover the correct bait to use for the most success while on the water. Now let's start by diving into the different types of water and the fish that live within them. Now, approximately 71% of the earth is covered in water, but not all bodies of water are the same. So there are three main types that you will see throughout the planet, and we'll be discussing those really briefly here. Now, that first body of water that we'll be talking about is called freshwater. So most commonly, any type of lake, pond, or reservoir that you'll see is classified as freshwater. Secondly, we'll be talking about saltwater. Now, saltwater is going to include all 5 oceans of the earth. And then third and finally, we will be talking about brackish water. Now, according to discoverboating.com, the most correct definition of brackish water is going to be where a freshwater stream meets a soft saltwater stream and they come together to create that brackish flow. Now that we've covered the different bodies of water, let's talk about the fish that live within them. So within freshwater, most commonly, you're going to see anything from bass, catfish, to bluegill. All different styles of fish that you can eat if you would like. Secondly, within saltwater, now this is going to be the longest, widest range of different types of fish you can catch when it comes to the 3 different styles of water. Depending on where you are in the world, how far deep you are casting, and what type of bait you are using, there's a large variety. But most commonly, you'll see anything from tuna, tarpon, to flounder. Third and finally, within that brackish water, you'll see a lot of the fish that end up on your plate for a meal. So just some examples are going to be anything from the redfish, the striped bass, or even that sea trout as well. Now, while you may have just heard of a certain ecosystem or type of fish that has sparked your interest, the next step is to learn the right type of rod to use for each body of water. So continuing on, while over the years technology has advanced for the betterment of the sport and enhancing the success of all fishermen, fishing rod types have become very niche. But for the sake of educational purposes, I'll be covering the main types of rods that you can use and then kind of what that looks like within each body of water. Now, the first type of rod to discuss is going to be the most common among them all. It's called the spinning reel. So the spinning reel is going to be a very stable rod connected to a reel with a spool of string. And it's called a spinning reel because as you cast it, it spins out hundreds of yards depending on how far you may throw it. Now, again, this can be used from anywhere from very beginners who never fished before all the way up to the most advanced anglers in the world. And you can use it in any type of freshwater, salt, and even brackish if you would like. Now, that second style of rod we will be discussing today is called the bait caster. Now, a bait caster is going to be used for a little bit more of intermediate to advanced fishermen. Again, you can use it in any type of freshwater, saltwater, and brackish water depending on where you are at. But where it differs from the spinning rod, it's going to have longer durability as well as more precise casting. So if you need to kind of cast your bait into a specific area of the water, you're probably going to find more success with that bait casting reel. Third and finally, we're going to be discussing the fly fishing rod. So this is going to be the most advanced rods that you will see. It is most commonly used in running freshwater. So what I mean by that, really not any sit still water, a lot of river use for this fly fishing rod. Now, it does require immense skill, but it can be used by anybody as long as you know the correct technique. So according to Shields.com, the best description of this fly fishing rod is that it's going to allow for a free flowing motion to your cast. And it's all really going to come down to how you present your bait, which is going to be called your fly, which where it gets its name from for fly fishing. So now that we've kind of discussed the different types of water, the different rods, and what type of water you can use them in, this leads me to my final point to cover, and it's the most successful bait to use to catch fish. Now, fishing offers benefits from anything from mental health to connecting with nature just by being out there. But I will be honest, it is also nice to reel in a catch every now and again. So the final topic I'll be discussing is the different types of bait that you can use depending on where you are fishing. This first style of bait that you can use is going to be called live bait. So within freshwater itself, you will most commonly use a live worm that is hooked onto there, and you can use that all throughout different styles of freshwater. Now, that second style that we're going to be talking about is going to be called artificial bait. Now, artificial bait is going to be very custom made. It can be used in any type of freshwater, saltwater, or brackish. Obviously, it is not a live species or animal, but it's there to mimic what that would look like. And third and finally, that specific type of bait to be used is going to be called a fly. Now, this is going to be used specifically for those fly fishing rods. And according to fishingbooker.com, really what that's for is they are created to mimic an attention-seeking fly that will reel in a fish for you to be able to catch. So, each fly is created light, it floats on top of the water, and it is custom made by people for what they may like. So as I conclude on the opportunity that fishing has to offer, let's take a moment just real quick to reflect on what we've learned. So we've learned everything from the different types of body of water to be able to fish in, the different styles of rods, and even the bait for the most success while on the water. Now finally, fishing is a game of chess and not checkers. Learning to maneuver through live and artificial bait and what types of water to use them on is always a fun game to learn and continues on throughout your time as an angler. So now that you've learned some of these basic topics of tips and tricks, it's time for you to get on the water and find your why.